Today's total body fitness is going to involve working on the lower back. A lot of people suffer from lower back stiffness, and it usually comes from a couple different sources. The first possible reason for lower back stiffness is tight legs, either in the front, the hip flexors, or even the hamstrings. Another cause would be a weakness in the core and in the glutes, so we'll also address that as well. And then the last possible reason for lower back stiffness is the actual facet joints become arthritic and stiff and don't move as well, or if you have scoliosis. We're gonna actually use a chair today, a small band, some blocks, and some weights. So do what you can do, and if you know there's something you shouldn't do, don't do it, skip it, and then we will get back on the next exercise together. So let's start seated in the chair. We're gonna sit near the edge, take my feet a little wider, and I'm just gonna move my knees out and in, a little bit like the Charleston move. You can let your feet rock in and out, or you can do this all barefoot and your feet will probably stay more flat on the floor. But sometimes when you got a shoe, the shoe kind of pops up because the ankle pushing on the side. And then we're gonna pull knee to chest. Make sure that all these exercises, your spine is super long. You're gonna lean back a little bit and you're gonna pull a knee in, and then you're gonna pull a knee in. You might feel that pinch right there in that hip crease, and that gets weak and short if you sit too much, too long. Work those muscles to lift that leg, but we're using a little assist to bring the leg up with the arms. And then next we're gonna work into the glute by doing the figure 4 stretch. You're gonna bring your leg, ankle right over the knee. I like to go up and down with the knee. So I kind of pull my knee up and then I let my knee go down, up and down. And you just go to your level. And then switch. We're gonna stretch the hamstring. I'm gonna give you a seated variation and a standing variation. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna keep one knee bent, the other leg is going to lengthen, not straighten completely. We wanna keep that knee slightly bent. Now the toe, right now I've got it pointing to the ceiling, but I want you to relax that toe and let the toe go more down so you don't stretch your sciatic nerve. From here, you're gonna place both hands onto the other leg. You're gonna sit up really tall and hinge at the hips till you feel the start of the stretch in the back of the hamstring. And then switch. Remember, you're gonna let that foot come down and be kind of a floppy. The knee is slightly bent, it's soft. You're gonna sit up really tall and stretch forward. Now that's the seated version. Now you can stand. I like to do it with the hands on the chair, and you're gonna do a bend and lengthen and bend and lengthen. Once again, the back, you're trying to keep it long and straight if possible versus letting it round. If it's rounding, then you may be even tighter back here, and maybe you need your hands up higher and you're just doing more of a slight lean to get those legs straighter. Once you feel like you've got there, about 10 of those pulses, then you can hold it and breathe. Finding the sweet spot that's not overly stretching. If you have pins and needles down into your feet, or you're feeling a lot of sensation down the side of the leg, it might be your sciatic nerve. So come out of that a little bit. And then release. All right, we're gonna come back to the seated position and we're gonna stretch the front of the thigh. So you're gonna sit near the edge. You're going to tuck a foot under the chair as far back as you can go to get the knee towards the floor. Then you're going to lean back a little bit. Once you get there, you're going to start to feel the stretch in the front of the thigh. You're going to squeeze your glutes to push your hips forward and up. And then change, other side. And release. Let's do that one more round, tucking it under, leaning back. And release and switch. And release. We're going to now go into the hip hinge. Hip hinge is going to also stretch your glutes and your hamstrings, but we're starting the strengthening process of those areas, as well as your spinal erectors. So you're going to sit at the edge of your chair. Your legs are going to go wide. You're going to cross your arms over your chest if it's comfortable for you. But even though I cross over, I'm not rounding down. So if that causes you to round down, maybe just bring your hands here. That way you can stay nice and tall. And then you're going to fold forward and come back up. And I mean fold forward at the hip, not at the back. If I turn to the side, you might be able to see this a little bit better. You're going to fold and back up. So I'm not rounding and back up. Okay, let's do a few of those. You're going to push into those feet. You're going to feel your glutes have to work to help you come back up. Otherwise, it all is going to go into the lower back load. And we're trying to get the glutes to do some work. You may also feel this in your hammies. If this bothers you seated, you can do the same move executed standing up, but we are going to do that together if you want to wait. And release. We are going to take some side bending. I'm going to choose to stand up to side bend, but you are more than welcome to stay seated and side bend along. So you're going to bring your feet fairly close together. You're going to lock out your knees if you're standing, squeezing the thighs and the glutes. That's going to give the hips support. You're going to pull up through the abdomen, lengthening the spine. You're going to bring your left hand to your hip and you're going to go to the side. I want you to feel a little pressure into that hip. Now this opposite arm can reach up into the air or it can just stay on the other hip. And change. You're going to press into the hip. Make sure you retighten if you've lost it. You're going to push into that hip and either arm reach or just keep it down by your side if that feels better. And let's repeat one more time. So re-lengthen, tighten, hand to hip and side bend. I'm going to go ahead and take this opening here. One of the errors that does happen on side bends is people turn the chest forward and down and hunch over. We want to try to keep upright and chest straight parallel to the wall in front of you. And change. And release. Next, we're going to do some twisting. So you just roll yourself from side to side. And we're going to do a hip hike. If I were to step onto this block, it's now going to give my right leg a place to go down past it. If I'm standing on the floor, I can't get my right foot to go any further down. The only way I could do that would be to bend the knee and then try to let that hip sink. Without bending a knee, is we're trying to move laterally, kind of like that side bend we just did, letting this hip sink in and down towards the wall, and then we're going to try to lift this side up, making this leg as short as possible without necessarily kicking the leg out to the side or bending the knee. So I'm going to go down and up and down and up. So I am working the hip muscles, and then on this side I'm working that lower back QL muscle. On the standing leg I'm working my glute muscle and my thigh muscle. And then when you're ready to switch, think of a hip hike. Think making one leg, that leg that's off the floor, think of making it long and short. And it's through the hip and through the spine area, not the knee. Alrighty, so we did some moving side to side of that lower back, and we did some strengthening for the hip and for that region. Now we're going to twist. Turn to your right, bring your left hand across to the outside of your knee, and then sitting up really tall, and then turn your head. Think of turning your head first, look behind you, then let the shoulders move a little bit more, and just think of yourself as a corkscrew as you go into your turn. And change. Bringing the hand across, bring the other hand back for support. Make sure you're sitting up tall, and think of turning your head first, shoulders to follow. Then coming back to center, we're in a side bend here on the chair. So you're going to open up the legs, and we're going to lean to the side kind of like we did standing, but here we're going to use some support of the forearm and elbow so that we can get a little bit deeper. But it's going to look different because I'm going to be going forward out towards my knee, so now my angle is different. And then I'm going to still reach that arm and try to get as deep as I can go. Some of you are very flexible and might even be able to get this hand down to the floor. And switch. You're going to bring the elbow out towards the knee, and you're going to turn, allow that chest to turn a little bit. You can come down and think lengthen, not down. Think lengthen, and then reach the arm. And coming back up, you're going to heel toe your feet in, fold forward onto your legs. I don't want you to round down. We're going to lengthen through the spine and hip hinge. Keep your hands on your legs for support. That is fine. You can let your head drop and hang, but go slow into that. That will deepen the stretch up your erectors. And then lengthening the head back out and push yourself back up. Whew, and let's shake it out a little bit. All right, we're gonna make our way down onto the floor. You're gonna grab your loop band, and then if you have some weights, you can have those nearby as well. So we're gonna put the band on around the knee, just above it. And then we're gonna lie down onto the back, and we're gonna do some strengthening for the hip and for the core. We're gonna do some different variations of glute bridge. A little bit of pressure on the band, and you're gonna just pulse that pressure. Pulsing, pulsing, pulsing. And then take a rest. Now we're gonna start to move into the bridge. And I want you to think of pelvic tilt. So you're going to think of that lower back coming towards the floor. You're going to then start to squeeze the glutes. You want to make sure your neck is long and your shoulders are away from your ears before you lift up your hips. Then you're going to press down into your feet to start to peel up. You're going to also maybe possibly feel that stretch in those quads. The glutes should be working. And you also want to feel like your belly is turned on a little bit. We don't want to do glute bridge with a passive abdomen. And then lower back down. We'll do that one more time. A pelvic tilt, slowly lift, and lower back down. Now we can also do it with the knees open and the feet together. I like this with the band because I feel like it gives me just a little bit of support, plus there's resistance, so it kind of helps and makes it harder at the same time. It's kind of a weird one. So bring your feet in and kind of come to the outside edge of those feet and push onto your band, opening the knees. From there, you're going to lift your hips up. You might even find that you can get a little further. It all depends on how your legs are set into your hip sockets. And then lower back down and take rest, and we'll do that one again. We're going to press the legs open. We're going to start to peel it up. Abs come on, glutes are working even more. And lower back down. From here, we're going to take a figure 4 stretch, kind of like what we did seated in the chair. You're going to just release your band a little bit so that you can cross ankle over knee. You can also pull knees to chest if that feels better. And then switch other side, crossing ankle over knee. And then knees come into chest. We're going to need the band back up around the knees for a few more exercises. What we're going to do is we're going to work now the psoas in your hip flexors. So we worked underneath, and now we're going to strengthen here in the front. The best way I like to do it is pulling both knees into the chest and then pushing one leg down. When I'm pushing the one leg down, I have to maintain this knee driving up. So my brain is focusing on this knee coming up, not that knee going away. And then you're going to hold that, and then you'll switch to the other side. You'll keep driving one knee in, push it till you feel a good enough resistance, holding there, and take rest. And then we'll do it again. So go ahead and bring those legs in. You're going to push one leg away, hold it, release and change. And release and take rest. Let's do one more round just like that. Pull those knees in. Pull them in really strong. Don't use your hands. This is all about the strength. Push one leg away. Change. And release. Go ahead and remove one leg out so you can do a windshield wiper. So your legs are going to go wide, and you're going to roll from side to side. So the first set of exercises we did was the glute bridge, right? We were strengthening legs, hips, core at the same time. We did the butterfly. Then we strengthened through these hip flexors. So next we're going to put the band back on. We're going to come onto hands and knees to work the glutes again and to lengthen out the front. So you're going to bring the leg up and hold it and release, and then change legs, bring it up and release. Now, you can do it just like I did it on hands and knees. You can do that standing, bent over, holding onto the chair. The other thing I like to do is come down onto the elbows. Coming down onto the elbows helps stretch the glute a little bit before you even start the exercise, and that makes the, to me, a little bit more effective in getting better range of motion and mobility. So we're going to go ahead and pick the one that works best for you. I'm going to make my way down onto the elbows. We make sure you want to hold it for a couple seconds at the top. Here we go, lifting one leg, hold, and change, hold, and change, hold, and change, hold, and change, hold. No back bending, keep that belly in. Change, hold. And one more round. And last one. Excellent. All right, next we're gonna come lying onto the side. We're gonna do a banana, but it's a little bit different than maybe what you're used to. Normally when we do bananas, we're lying all the way down on the shoulder, we lift up the legs and we lift up the head like this, right? Maybe we even pulse legs or pulse, maybe the legs are together, maybe they're apart. But for today, we're actually gonna take the band and bring it down around the ankles. The top hand is in front, so you can lean forward a little bit so that when you're lifting your legs up, the glute and your lower back muscles are doing the work. If you're rolling backwards and you lift your legs up, you turn, you could almost like touch, if you can almost touch your shin doing a crunch kind of thing, leg lift, where that's using more of your front muscles. I'm trying to get you to work these back muscles and the sides of your hip. And so you want to feel like your legs are kicking back. Now, most people, when they do this, they lift both legs. But because the band is there, I only want you to think of lifting your top leg and letting your bottom leg be heavy. So you're going to lift your head up if you can. If you need to support it, I get it. You can put your fingers on your head to help support the side of the neck, but we are strengthening these muscles. You're going to lean a little forward. You're going to lift the top leg. When you lift the top leg, you're going to feel the resistance, right? If you lift the bottom leg, you've helped the top leg. I want you to try to relax the bottom leg and try to lift that bottom leg using just the top leg. You can hold this for 10 counts or we can do pulses, but I would rather you just hold it because I want you to focus on just this part in your lower back, maybe even in the side of the hip, side of the leg work, and the bottom leg not helping whatsoever. Oh my goodness, I think we've already hit our 10 counts. And take a rest. And then we'll switch to the other side. All right, so we've got a banana, but we are actually making it a more challenging banana because of the weight of the bottom leg. Once again, you want to feel like your feet are kind of kicked back. You're rolling slightly forward. You can support your head. You're going to lift that top leg. You're going to try to let that bottom leg just kind of be heavy. And you're going to go as high as you can go. We're going to hang out here together, trying to build some strength through the side obliques, your QL muscle right back there. You can feel that all be nice and strong. Maybe you'll feel a little bit in your hip. And take a rest. Excellent. All righty. Let's remove the band. I just found it easier to lie on the back to do that. Let's remove it. We're going to come back to a seated position. We're going to use some dumbbells to work the upper body, working the arms. But when we do this seated dumbbell work, we're working on strengthening just the overall core center. So sitting near the edge of your seat, you're going to hold your weights and you're going to have them kind of out in front of the chair. We're going to bicep curl. So you're going to bend the elbows and lower down. Now you have, we're going to do 10 like this, the hammer style, and then we're going to do 10 with the palms up. Now, if your weights are really heavy, maybe you're doing 6 or 7 or 8. If your weights are really light, maybe you're doing 12 or 15 to my 10. Here we go. Shoulders down, and we begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Take rest, shake out your arms. Second round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Take a rest, shake out the arms. Next, we're going to do a lateral raise and a forward raise. 10 of those. Sitting up tall, nice soft elbows. I like to even kind of have them on my legs to start instead of just hanging down by my side. Sorry, Ray. We're going to go out and forward. Yes? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Nice job. Take a rest, shake them out. This time you're going to do an out and forward, but only one arm at a time. And what that's going to do is that's going to force your spine to work a little bit harder. So make sure you're sitting up tall, your abs are pulling up, keeping that length in the spine. Pick your starting arm, out and forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, and one more to make it for your 10. 5. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Excellent. Okay, we're going to come back down onto the floor. We're going to do some bird dogs. Now, if you can't get down on the floor or you're recovering from knee things, you can always do this standing. You can put one foot back and reach. But if you can get on your knees, that would be great. You could even do it with a light weight if you would like to add that weight challenge. Let's start with the left leg back and then the right arm forward. If you've got a weight, you can hold that weight. It doesn't have to be high. The weight can also go out to the side if you would prefer. My weight is pretty heavy to actually hold up or out. So I'm just going to kind of hold it here and work my bicep. So extend your left leg, tighten it up, lock it out. Make sure your abs are in before you even lift the leg up, because you want to have that engagement. You want to feel like if I put a martini on your lower back, it's not going to spill. You're going to lift up the leg and lift up the arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Switch. Make sure you get that nice tight leg, tight ab, lift from the glute. We hold for 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, we're going to repeat that. But for some of you, you may be more advanced than that, and here is an advanced option. Now it gets really advanced really fast. It is a bird dog plank. So you're going to go into plank, you're going to lift a leg, and you're going to lift an arm. I've got a little secret that helps me do it, and when I go to lift my arm, before I even lift it, I already kind of have it reaching out and forward. So if you want to watch me attempt a bird dog plank, you can. You're going to come into the plank position, then you're going to think lift a leg, and then you're going to get that arm kind of start to crawl it out. And then from there, you got to really feel everything tight and then lift. It's really hard to do. Then you're going to do the opposite, kind of get that leg and our arm already extended out, lift the leg, get it all on. Oh man. A little harder on that side for me. And then switch. So you can give that a whirl, or you can come back down onto your knees and do another round of bird dogs. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Nice. Take a stretch back. Bring your hips down toward your heels, and then walk your hands and reach over to the side so that you can feel the stretch down the side. And change. And then coming back to center for a couple cat and cows. You're going to relax the back. You're going to relax the stomach. You're going to take the gaze more forward. It doesn't have to crank the neck at all. You can just keep that neck long. Hold there and breathe. And then you're going to round the spine. I like to start at the tailbone, and there's a specific reason for that. It's just like when you do your glute bridge, you do the same thing. You're peeling your hips up by tucking your tailbone under, and one vertebra at a time puts you into that flexion position. And then reverse. And one more switch. And then release. So we're going to go onto our back. This first one is not going to be our typical spinal twist that I usually do in class. For this one, we're actually going to make it a little bit more of core strength. So when you lie down, you want to keep your shoulders down. Your arms can be out at a V or out to a T. Your feet and knees are going to stay together. And you're going to roll up onto the right hip, and you're going to bring that left leg off the floor, right? They're going to stay attached, so it's like glued. And you're going to let that come down as far as you can go, as long as you have control and your shoulders stay on the floor. Shoulders and head has to stay on the floor, and you only go as far as you can go as long as nothing separates. You can't let your feet and legs move and separate. They have to stay together, squeezing in, and then you roll it back to center, and then you're going to switch the other side. You're going to start to roll to the left. You're going to lift the foot up. That's got to stay attached, feet and knees glued together, and you got to control this. Don't let your shoulder come up. Don't let your body, upper body move. You're pulling this direction with your strength, right? You're using your strength to keep this side down and letting this side go over, getting a good stretch and strengthen. Yes, so it's a little bit more of a core exercise than a passive stretch. So let's try again. Arms wherever you're most comfortable. You're going to roll up onto the hip. Control it and keep thinking you're pulling the left shoulder down as you're reaching your knees away. And then come back to center and reset if needed. And then we're going to bring them over, get up onto that hip a little bit, and then keep driving that right shoulder down. Keep pulling down into that floor. Don't let it come up. You're reaching the knees the opposite direction of your shoulder. This is really great. I really feel it right through here. It's a really good one. I feel like I'm strengthening in that lengthened position. And then from here, you're going to let the knees open wide, feet come together to now stretch that inner groin that we just worked. And then you'll bring it all back in together. Figure 4, crossing the ankle over the knee. Here I'm going to ask you to bring the foot really close and high up towards your hip, and then that way you can get that knee to come away. And then release. Then the foot's going to come higher up towards the knee. You're going to draw them in. And change, crossing ankle over thigh, and then try to bring it high up towards the top of your hip, and then push the knee away. And then release, allow the leg to come back up higher to the knee, and then draw everything in. And then from here, we're going to do one more hamstring stretch by extending the leg. Keep it a little soft, foot floppy. Remember, we don't want to flex the foot. As soon as you do that, you might feel a sharp pain up the calf or maybe into the bottom of the foot. That's your sciatic nerve, and sciatic nerves don't like that. So a little softness in the knee, grabbing a hold behind the leg, and then you're just going to allow it to come forward towards your chest as long as your hips stay down on the ground and your back stays flat. Just looking to feel it right there and only there. And change. And release. Quad stretch. If you have trouble with this, you can always use like your band, your loop band that you had around your foot, and grab and pull. and release and change. And for those that are really flexible, doing that on your stomach is even better, because then you're getting it higher up and not just low into the knee area, because it forces the hip to be flatter. And then release. I like one back bend. If you shouldn't do it, just have a seat, you're done. Otherwise, prop up onto your elbows and feel like you're pulling yourself forward. I like that. It's not for the back bend itself as much as it is the stretch in the abdomen. So I'm gonna really try to let that stretch in the stomach kind of high up. And then release. And make your way back up, guys. All right, well, that is it for today. We'll see you next time. Exercise right out of my shoe.